Right, so a slightly more relaxing setup for this video. I'm going to talk about my monthly musings for May 2019. Okay, so I feel like I hope that I'm starting to get more into the swing of things with this monthly musings series. Basically, I'm just going to talk to you about what's happened for me in the month, so things that I've been thinking about, things I've been doing, and some of it may or may not be of interest to you, but you can leave me feedback, give me comments and help me make things better. So a few things. Most recently, just towards the end of May, I can't remember if I've shown much of the cave before, so I'll talk about that very briefly now. I did the hellish thing last week of going to IKEA with a plan, and actually I did pretty good with that plan. I only bought like one thing different. But basically, I do an overlay as I talk about some of this stuff. I'm fortunate enough that the cave is this kind of quite a large space, and the original plan when I bought this house was that I always wanted to have a home cinema, and this space would give me the flexibility to have that. But also, as I permanently work from home for the last however many years it is, 15, 16 years, something like that. Used to have a room obviously in a house before, but now having kids, you know, they can come and disturb and what have you, so it was great to have this cave area where I can work, and also at the right time the family can relax and watch a movie. So to be honest with you, I don't tend to watch movies that often, just trying to struggle to get the time, but it always felt a bit kind of odd to me that I couldn't kind of fully disconnect from work. So working was never the issue, but sometimes if I came up here just to use the VR or to watch a movie, I would get distracted because I just want to go back and do some work to kind of get some stuff done. So what I decided to do, I actually saw some things on Pinterest that were just some examples of how people split up some spaces. So I decided to get this massive Kallax unit from IKEA to kind of create some separation between, I guess, the cinema space and then my office working space behind. So I only had it set for a couple of days. The cave is still a bit of a mess. I don't know if you can see over here. I had a plan to have a few more things set up in it, but when I actually kind of got them and built them and put into place, it doesn't kind of work right. So I've got a couple of Kallax units that I'll have to get rid of. Maybe I can sell them at half the price or something on Facebook, or see if we've got another use for them. But back to the joy thing, don't want to just keep them for the sake of it. But it's actually feels for me a much nicer space around there, so I feel like I'm more kind of focused. And then when I'm around here, obviously I know you can still see things through here, and I guess over time I'll find some things, not necessarily new things, but I've got, you know, different things in the cabinets over there that might fit in here. You can probably see Octopus Energy sent me this little octopus which arrived this week as well, so just things like that can live in there, so it helps give me two separate spaces. So it's going to work well for me, I think. So then other things are going on. So I did the video recently of this drone or quadcopter giveaway. I'm going to do a live stream video soon, probably next week, and in that live stream it's going to be a Q&A, because people have mentioned before they'll be interested in a Q&A, so do a Q&A live stream. I think I've made some more tweaks to the live stream stuff, so I'm pretty confident that's going to work pretty well. And during that live stream I also picked the winner for this. I thought I found a box that it's fitted in. As you can see, doesn't quite fit. I don't really want to take it apart, so because obviously I don't know whoever wins it. Not sure how winner they may or may not be with stuff. So I need to see if I can get a slightly bigger box to fit that in. That's going to be good to go. Also, whilst I've been messing around with the stream stuff, I remembered I've got a Twitch account, so I may also do some computer game streaming on there. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description to that Twitch page. So if you're into gaming, maybe interested in watching some of that stuff, just downloaded the Kerbal Space Program strategy game, so that'd be kind of cool to check out as well. A couple of other things. I bought this recently. It's an Anker 5-in-1 kind of little docky thing. Can't remember the proper word for it now. So I have I think it's a Dobo Cool one of these right now. Works really well, but it's starting to get a bit old, and the kind of fitment isn't as snug as it used to be. I'm a big fan of Anker products, so I picked up one of these. It's basically to work with my MacBook Pro. That's what I tend to do most of the video editing on. So it's got 2 USB 3 ports, as well as HDMI output. Only outputs in 4K 30 frames per second, but it also has an SD and micro SD card. So the current one I have doesn't have the micro SD, and I have to keep on remembering to find the adapter all the time to do that. So pretty good. I've also trying to make some more time for VR. So you would have seen I did a video recently. I don't think many of you are really interested in the VR videos, but I got sent a couple of games a fair while back and just hadn't had time to kind of check them out. So there was a Beat Blaster game that went up this week, and also this War on Drugs VR game that I just finished checking out. It's not that great, but I do a quick video on that as well. Then other things that have been going on. So I want to say thank you to Darren. Darren sent me a message to point out that I'd actually screwed up with my interpretation of my solar stats performance for the month. I thought I'd only generated 1,006 kilowatt hours. It's actually 1,060 kilowatts. So I did kind of smash the prediction for the month. So that's good. I think it was just late and I got my 0 and a 6 round the wrong way or something, but that's good. Other things that have been going on. So I'm trying to get out on my bike more. So the guys I work with at work were doing this kind of fitness challenge for a month. We did it a couple of years ago. I actually lost a reasonable amount of weight and then put it all back on again. So I'm been using those MPOW headphones when I go out on the bike, so that's been working quite well. I also finished reading a couple of books that, depending on kind of what you're interested in, may be of interest. Let me just check so I don't get the names wrong. So the first one I finished reading this month was a book called Magic is Dead. The Journey, why isn't this working? No. Yeah, Magic is Dead by a guy called Ian Frisch. And it's basically his kind of journey into the kind of magic community. So I'm really interested more in the mentalism side of things. But a guy called Chris Ramsey, who does lots of good magic on YouTube, he kind of mentioned this book because he was quite involved in it. It was an okay book. I don't think you read it. I don't know who's going to appreciate it more, someone who's interested in magic or just someone who's kind of curious. It's basically this kind of a documentary of this kind of guy's life getting interested into the magic and the impact it had in his life and kind of meeting people in the magic community. So it was an interesting book, but I kind of got to the end and I didn't really feel like I got too much from it. Now it's probably my own personal problem because I'm not really much of someone that reads for pleasure. I'm really more someone who reads for knowledge, and I didn't feel like I gathered too much from it. Another book which I just finished reading a couple of days ago is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This is his second version of the book. So this is basically a finance book talking about kind of ways to be better with your money, talk about investments and stuff like that. So a lot of things in the book I was already familiar with, so it's actually kind of good to kind of reinforce some of the current thought process. I would recommend the book if you're interested in kind of finance and managing your money and kind of planning for the future and stuff like that. Be aware it is obviously by a US author, so a lot of the stuff in there is focused around American taxes and some of the investment plans that are available to them. Also they talk about 401ks and Roth IRAs and stuff like that. This is kind of their equivalent to our pensions in a way, but not as good as a pension, I don't think. But you can still take the basics and the learnings from it, which is quite good. The one thing that I did like, that I think I'm going to look at how I can adopt in a better way, is he talks about how you can have guilt-free spending, and that's basically by how it's pretty good practice in a way, and I kind of do it, but it's allotting a certain percentage of your kind of salary after you've been paid into having that guilt-free spending. So if you want to go get a coffee, or you want to buy a book or whatever it may be, you're allotting that certain amount of money to be able to spend and not feel guilty about spending it, because you've already put money aside for your bills and car maintenance and your mortgage and your savings and your investments and all this sort of thing. So I kind of do that already, but the way I tend to operate more right now is kind of whatever's left is what I've got left to play with, and it kind of takes a while. It takes about like halfway through the month until I really work out how much is or isn't left, and if you're not really doing too well on kind of focusing on your finances, that may cause problems. So I'm thinking that I might just say, hey, here's £50 or something, and put that in a completely separate account, and that is my kind of guilt-free spending money. And when that's gone until the next month. So I'm going to think about that, and I'll let you guys know how it goes, if it's worthwhile considering. But the rest of it was pretty good. The other thing that I quite liked about it was he talked about there are instances where you get additional income that you weren't expecting. So that could be a gift, like from a birthday or something like that. It could be a bonus from work. It could be that you win a competition, or it could be that you sell some things. And assuming that you don't currently have like debt that you're trying to pay off or something, his approach is to take 50% of that money that he just got because it was unexpected, and he will invest 50% of it, and then the other 50% he will use to treat himself to something that's kind of like on his wish list that he was planning to purchase at some point. And he said this is quite important, so especially if that money, the extra money that you generated by kind of some side hustle or something, it's that kind of reward to kind of keep you focused and want to do more of it, really. So yes, I think that was quite good and interesting. Other things that are still planning is some of the things I kind of mentioned to you before. The weather's getting a lot better, even though it started raining again this week, but I want to get out with the telescope, so I've got a few things there. I've got a Celestron Wi-Fi module that plugs into the camera that I got last year. I haven't really had too much time to play with just yet, as well as some new software that Celestron have recently released that will enable me to kind of do some remote guidance with the camera, as well as the Telrad red dot and that camera. Also did get the Apple Watch, actually. That's just charging at the moment. I'm really impressed with that Series 4 Apple Watch. The reason I'm not wearing it as well, it is charging, but I've got a problem with my hand where basically I can move it and everything, but I can't really grip very tight and can't really feel what's happening with it, and like quite constant pins and needles. So I've had this for a couple of years, but it's getting worse, so I am having an operation on that before the end of the month now. So probably the next video in the series of these, you'll see me with this thing on. I think that's the main things that are going on. Oh, I have got the My Energy Hub, the kind of final production release model that I'm going to do a video on, both for an unboxing and a setup on that. I keep meaning to do it, and either other stuff gets in the way or the weather goes to pot and I need to be outside to kind of pair it with the Zappy and stuff. So I may make a start on some of that, and then kind of stop the video, and then when the weather's better do the Zappy. It's going to take too long, so I really would like to get that video out, because I think that the My Energy Hub, if you've got the My Energy products, that's probably the most important product for you in terms of what it kind of gives you ability to do to kind of make your equipment work a bit better, and then hopefully it's going to be better kind of longer term to give you stats and stuff like that on it. But I think that's pretty much it for things that's going on right now. Oh, I did get my Lotus Evora 400 back, so I've done a video kind of on that in terms of where I think the Lotus are loads of trouble, usually serious or not. So that will be coming out soon. But basically, the car is back. Lotus paid to have the parts of the engine fixed, so it's all running right. When I did get it back, there was a slight problem, which I had to go back again and get that fixed. That's when I did the follow-up video. But touch wood, everything is working pretty good. I also got an Elgato green screen to go with the other streaming stuff that I've set up, so I'm hoping that I can use some of that behind here and in some of the other videos, hopefully with some of the streaming, but it might be too wide, but we'll see. I've got a video coming about that as well, because I think it's pretty good. It's a good example of something that's expensive but you're really paying for the convenience. It's quite a funny video, I think, as well. So I think that's it. Just trying to think if there's anything else in my musings going on, but the only other things I've got planned, and again, no one's really seemed too interested. I'm trying to get back into some of my mentalism stuff, so I'm trying to find some time for that. But yeah, I think it's been a pretty decent month, and I've done a pretty good job of kind of continuing to manage my spending. I am going to do a video actually that's kind of helped with that, is how amazing it is having an electric vehicle. So obviously, aside from the cost of buying the Tesla, which I decided to do, and you could obviously buy a cheap electric vehicle, I've actually been doing quite a lot of miles in the last couple of weeks for work, or at least a lot of miles for me, and the fact that I've done so many hundreds of miles and it hasn't cost me anything. It's just been either charging at home from the sun, or I've been able to use the superchargers for free, or the Type 2 and charger mode charging for free. That's one of the things that I think is so great about Tesla, and obviously you can still get your mileage, so then that helps you generate additional income, which then can be used to put towards some few things. So I'm going to put some of that money buy for future charging, where I may have to charge electricity at a ridiculous 40 pence a kilowatt if they charge, but also then use some of it to put off a bit more of the mortgage. So that's it. If these videos are interesting, or you got any other questions, please feel free to leave comments. I really appreciate everyone continuing to watch and subscribe and share these videos. I still enjoy doing them. I do sometimes worry that I'm gibbering on about stuff that's not very interesting to you, but I guess the people who unsubscribe will not watch the videos, but that's it. So I'll catch you next time, probably in the live stream, where we just do a general Q&A about, you guys can ask anything, and assume it's not too personal, I will probably answer it, and then we can pick the winner for this drone and get it sent off. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.